Is that what these guys have been waiting for? For me to come back? I mean, the last time that Milan scored 2 goals in the first half of a game was the last time that I covered a match of Milan 2 months ago. The 2 players that have been accused of protecting the most, Rafael Lewow and Theo Hernandez, have been getting criticized for weeks. The first game that I'm back and ready to cover, they end up scoring goals and assists, picking up man of the match trophies. Had I known that's the amount of impact I have on this team, I would have never gone on vacation. But now I'm back. I'm gonna give my 4 takeaways from today's game. You guys know how this works. Green boxes for good performances, red boxes for bad ones. And then at the end of this video, we'll have a little bit of a story time about why I've been away for 2 months when the initial plan was to kind of be away for only 4 weeks. But let's kick off today's video with some good news, and that I think has to be about the story of Mike Maignan. He took a bad collision between Mike and Alex Jimenez in the second half, the entirety of the first half. Now, actually, we're gonna have to take this back pretty much to last season. Maignan travels with Milan to Udinese. They played against Udinese at the same stadium. There was racist chants that were directed towards Mike from I guess their curva, or parts of their stands. For this reason, I believe Udinese was also punished. There was a lot of controversy that came about. So this time around, when they saw Mike in the starting lineup and they saw him in between the sticks, they made sure that they booed him every single time that he touched the ball. Every time that Mike touched the ball, there were boos coming out. But you do have to give credit to, I guess, part of the stadium that actually, when that collision between Mike and Jimenez happened, it was a really bad collision. Initially, the Udinese fans were pissed off that the game was stopped because they had an opportunity to score a goal pretty much into an empty net. But then I think there was a realization that was actually a pretty serious collision, and there was a serious head injury that was involved in there. Milan players were really, frantic about getting the support staff on, the physio on, the medical staff really on to stretcher Mike off. And when he was not even on the stretcher yet, he was, looked like the situation was much more serious. You could see that a lot of those Udinese fans that were booing the guy started applauding the guy. When he was picked up, taken on the stretcher, taken off the field, they applauded him even more. So even the coach sort of pointed this out, and it's worthy of noticing that, hey, these guys were booing him before, whatever, vendetta they had, they wanted to get against him in today's game and, keep his focus off. They were directing that towards him. But when they did see that he got a serious injury, the humanity sort of came out and the humanity sort of won. So that was a good thing to see. But if we jump into our 4 takeaways, let's kick this off with the first green box. We're going to give this green box to Theo Hernandez. Now, oh boy, I don't even know where to start with Theo. I've been away for 2 months. A lot has happened in these 2 months. A lot of criticism has been directed towards Theo. But I think there's also been some degree of maybe mismanagement from multiple coaches now when it comes to Theo. I think there has to be an acceptance that this guy is not necessarily the best defensive left back. He's clearly an attacking left back. So putting him in a system where he actually has a bit more coverage, he has somebody who's sort of protecting that space, and Theo has the freedom to do the attacking part, should have been something that maybe you would have hoped that would have clicked in one of the previous managers. The downturn in Theo Hernandez has been pretty consistent over the past couple seasons. There are 2 parts of it that I want to pick on. Number 1 is Theo's not a defensive left back, not necessarily. He's more of an attacking left back. So by forcing him to play in a 4-man backline, we're sort of compromising on both things. He wasn't able to provide the defensive coverage that was needed, but because he wasn't able to provide the defensive coverage that was needed, a lot of the times he also wasn't able to attack properly enough. If he was solid defensively, he would have some type of a freedom to be able to move up, help out an attack, and still have the confidence to go back and help out defensively. But when that happened and he committed himself forward, a lot of the times there was a hole in Milan's backline. So just from a personality standpoint, I think using him as a left back in a 4-man backline, maybe for the past couple seasons, hasn't necessarily worked out that well for Milan. The second part to that, I think that is directly linked to this, is that for multiple seasons now, ever since Milan had Diogo Dalot, and then the season after that when Milan won the Serie A title, since then, guys, we haven't had a competent backup for Theo. I've been crying about for 3 years almost now. When are we going to have a good quality left back that backs up Theo where he doesn't have to play these many minutes for this team? Theo Hernandez, without a question in my mind, has been the most overused player on the squad when it comes to year-over-year utilization. And let's be real, fullbacks run a lot. And we haven't given him a competent backup for like 3-4 years now. Put all that mileage on him and still given him a certain amount of a salary, which is, I think, still from before Milan won the Serie A title. So naturally, that relationship has sort of reached a place where it seems like it's about to end. You need something incredible to happen in the last, 6-7 games of the season for anything to turn around in that. But I think having the coach making the decision to turn it into a 3-4-3, where he plays on the left, he plays more like a wing back instead of a fullback, it sort of gave Theo a lot more attacking freedom and absolved him of the responsibility of having to be too defensively involved. And I think that's why we saw a different version of Theo, and we saw a vintage Theo with that goal that he scored. That's lovely. 3v2. Theo, take a crack. Theo! Oh my God, what a goal. This is the version of Theo that Milan has missed. Is it too little too late now, not just for the results, but to be able to even salvage a relationship, get a potential renewal going? I don't really think that's going to happen. I think this is a player that Milan feels they're going to sell and maybe get a decent amount of cash for. And if in the last 6, 7, 8, whatever matches of the season, he puts in a good show, it's only going to probably, appreciate and increase his value, which has taken a hit this season itself. But for a solid performance today, easy green box. Oh my God, look at that. How out of practice I've been. Green box is supposed to have green lights. Theo Hernandez, green box, green lights. The next green box for me for today's match, I'm going to have to give this to Strahina Pavlovic. I feel like this player outside of, alongside Theo really, Theo benefited seriously from, not having the responsibility of, taking care of the left flank necessarily. I also feel like there was a degree of pressure that was taken off of Strahina, because we do know that this is a player that likes to run forward. He likes to be involved in attacks. We saw what he did in the 94th minute, the way that he almost made a Theo Hernandez style run in the 94th minute to get Milan on the score sheet. I think he actually really benefited from the fact that even if he makes a move forward, you still have two center backs in Ficarra Tomori and Matteo Gabbia, covering the back line and protecting you defensively. Strahina was solid on the defensive end as well. You did see him make those runs up. I think even in the 94th minute run that he made up, possession switched. Udinese started to come back on attack. And when I look back, Strahina was back there helping out defensively as well. So he was involved both from an attacking standpoint and defensively. And then on top of everything, he capped it off with a beautiful goal that he scored. I mean, it was a perfect header using his size, using his strength inside their box. I think he was already fighting with one of their players. He was complaining to the referee that he was elbowing him. That's why if you watch Pavlovic scored that goal, his celebration wasn't really running towards the corner or towards his teammates. It was more of a celebration looking right at their player. I think his name was Luca. He looked right at him and said, "Hey, you're going to try and elbow me? I'm going to score goals on you." Christian Pulisic, go! There it is. Strahina of all players. Try and elbow him more, buddy. For me, Strahina was solid, and that's why I'm going to put him in the green box. The next one's going to be a shout-out. The shout-out goes out to Yusuf Fofana, probably the one player that in the past 2 months of me being away, not watching a lot of Milan games, but still keeping an eye on the videos that the rest of the guys are putting out, seeing your comments and seeing the tweets coming out, probably the one player that was criticized the least. And it wasn't much different today from Fofana. He was actually really solid. It was, I think, sort of epitomized in the first goal that Milan scored. He stayed on top of his man. He made sure that he didn't get a chance to run away with the ball. Milan was on attack. They lost possession. Udinese were coming on the counter. Fofana got in the way and said, no, not yet, buddy. We're still going to complete our attack. So won the ball off of him, drove the ball into their box. Udinese had already committed bodies on the counter. Milan had Rafael Lewow left behind. An easy pass for Fofana and a sublime finish from Rafael Lewow, but it gives Fofana an assist for that. I do think sometimes he was a little bit more casual with possession. He lost the ball a couple of times, especially in the second half that I noticed, but all in all, it was the right support system for, Tijani Rangers, who's also trying to find, that consistent amount of form back, at least when it comes to scoring goals. But I think it was a decent enough performance from Fofana to at least get a shout out. And the next green box from today's match, this one's going to be for Tammy Abraham. I think a few of you guys may be surprised by this particular, green box. You might be looking at players like Tijani Rangers, for example. I thought Rangers was good, But I just felt like there was something about the impact, the immediate impact of a player like Tammy. The coach had nice things to say about Luka Jovic. To me, I felt like he was sort of absent most of the time. I think he was offering a little bit different to the team. He wasn't necessarily there to maybe score goals per se, but he was there to sort of help out in the middle part of the field because he has the ability to sort of drop back. I do think that in the past we've seen Tammy also possesses the same quality, but what Tammy did today was he came on and he made immediate impact to the scoreline for this team. And that's truly at the end of the day what you want from your center forward, not just have, number one quality for a center forward to me shouldn't be the ability to drop back. It should be the ability to score goals or create goal scoring opportunities for your teammates. It helps if you can drop back, but that can't be your main asset. Tammy helped this team score goals. If you look at what he did for Theo Hernandez's goal, that flick that he provided to Theo, that was perfect. He was pretty much getting fouled on, but he still had the presence of mind to, provide a flick, a pass into open space. Theo ran with that ball and scored that goal. But I think it was that ball that he provided to Rafael Lewow for Tijani Reinders' goal. That pass from across the face, well, not the face of goal, but pretty much the face of the box, that was a sublime cross from Tammy. Oh, he lays it off for Tammy. Tammy, it's a 4v2. Almost. There it is. Tammy with a beautiful ball to Rafa. Leão! Goal. Goal. Fell right to Rafael Lewow perfectly. He, drove the ball in and made a really selfless pass back to Tijani Reinders, who scored a goal. So for me, Tammy gets his green box more so for adding or helping to add to the scoreline for this team. I mean, this is a scoreline that Milan hasn't matched since middle of September, pretty much when the season started. So to come on and not rest on a 2-0, but convert it into a 3-0 and then help convert it into a 4-0, you're deserving and worthy of a green box. And the next shout out from today's match is going to go out to Christian Pulisic. I don't necessarily think that this was Pulisic's best game per se. I don't even think he was that involved in attack, but I did feel like a lot of the times he was making particular runs that allowed his teammates to get into the right space. And he was making runs that found himself to be in the right position to sort of facilitate the play more so than being involved necessarily in the final 2-3 passes where you're about to score a goal. Obviously, as I talked about already, Theo Hernandez in the first half made a darting run on the left flank. He made a pass back to Christian. I think he struck it, or the ball sort of, as I said, ping-pong off of him, off another Udinese player, and went out for a corner kick. He then stepped up to take that corner kick. And once again, his delivery on those corner kicks was perfect. And I think that's the part that, I'm not really going to discuss too many things from the previous games, but it should be set in stone that this guy gets to take the corner kicks and this guy gets to take the penalty kicks. Now, there's some debate about what happened in that match where Santiago Jimenez missed the penalty. Some people are saying that, or there was an understanding that apparently Christian himself wanted Santiago to take that penalty kick to sort of get on the score sheet, get his confidence up. He sort of sacrificed himself. Might not have been the right match or the right scoreline to sacrifice on, but it should be set in stone that this guy's taking the penalty kicks and this guy's also taking the corner kicks, because his corner kicks today were super effective and it was the reason why Strajna Pavlovic scored a goal. So wasn't as involved in attack, didn't score a goal per se, but still got an important goal to sort of double up that lead. Milan with a 1-0 lead going into halftime, anything can still happen in the second half. But with Christian creating that second goal for the rossoneri, it really put the team in a different level of confidence that, okay, we have a cushion now. So now we can play a certain type of way in the second half. And he was pretty consistent in how he facilitated and helped out his teammates, even in the second half. So definitely worthy of a shout out. And the final takeaway from today's match, this one's an easy one. Obviously, has to go out to the man of the match for today's game, to Rafael Lewow. Now, one thing that has to be said about Rafael Lewow, he didn't really look that good in the first 15 to 20 minutes of the game. He looked lethargic, looked slow, was making some bad passes, some lazy passes. One of his lazy passes almost costed Milan a goal. He tried to, thread the ball through a couple of players. It fell right to an Udinese player close to Milan's box. He makes a run towards the box. They were complaining for a penalty kick, But it was the typical layout that we sometimes get to see that is not the most impressive. But then something in him just switched. The quality, I mean, he did have a couple of attacking opportunities before. He tried to take a strike on goal. I think one of them was saved by the Udinese goalkeeper. So something in his confidence was probably growing when it came to, his finishing. He just happened to be in a perfect spot. There weren't a lot of Udinese players around. The ball that came in from Fofana set him up perfectly, but to have the guts to take that shot first time from that angle, not even really facing the goal, but having your left shoulder towards the goal and just striking it into the top left corner was perfect from Rafa. Oh, Yusuf, nice work. Fofana, don't mess this up. Leão, goal! There it is. That's a beautiful goal. And then even in the second half, I think it has to really be pointed out. There's a lot at the time. I don't know why this happens. It's obviously untrue. I don't know why at times some fans in the comments talk about how Leão is selfish. I wish he was more selfish. I love what he did with taking that strike and scoring that goal. I think he should have even gone for the goal the second time around when he ended up assisting the goal for Rangers. That was the selfless version of Leão. He should actually be going for goal on that, in my opinion. But he sets up his teammate to score a goal who's been trying to, get his 10th goal on the board. But that's the version of Rafa, this version of Rafa that we love the most. Scoring goals, assisting goals. The one number that I realized about him, a lot of criticism has come Rafa's way this season. And it has been a poor season for Milan. And it even has been, in some ways, not the best season for Leão. But he still has 22 goal contributions. 11 goals and 11 assists. We still got about 6 to maybe 8, 9 matches left in the season still. So for a player to be this criticized for a 22 goal contribution season, I mean, say what you want about that. And keep in mind, he's done all this without having a truly competent number 9. First, it was Alvaro Morata, who's already bounced out 4 months later. Then it came Santiago Jimenez, who we've seen how his season has sort of turned out till now. So he's doing all this, getting 11 assists, scoring these goals with not even necessarily a competent number 9 in front that he could actually pass the ball to, who could finish the chances. Last season, he had Olivier Giroud, who was also on his last leg and moved to Los Angeles. So these are the players that he has with him that he's getting these kinds of numbers with. At this point in time, alongside Christian Pulisic for Milan and a few other players in the league, Leão is the leading assist maker in the league. So in a poor season where he's heavily criticized, he's still the best in the league in providing assists. So it puts us in this place where we absolutely should be criticizing some of these players, but we also should be watching what these guys are providing you with. I hope this carries on for the next 6, 7, 8, 9 games to finish off the season. And for that, Leão is going to be a key piece to this team. We don't want to see the version of Leão we saw for the first 20 minutes even today. We want to see the guy that we saw after that. Now we're going to switch to some story time to tell you guys what the heck happened for the last 2 months. Now, first of all, I want to give you guys this disclaimer. I'm going to probably be repeating this story over the next couple of videos because sometimes I have to cover more people. Some of you guys might see it, but some of you guys might not watch this video, but you'll watch the next review. So you're going to ask me what happened. So I'm going to repeat this story maybe for the next 2, maybe 3 videos. Just want to give you guys that disclaimer. And I also want to, once again, thank the guys, Marco, Fabio, Matt, for filling in and creating some content for you guys so you weren't completely left with nothing coming from this channel. What happened? I was supposed to go away for 4 weeks. It was supposed to be a very simple vacation, seeing my family, going overseas. I did go to India, I did go to Thailand. It was a lot of fun initially, and then some medical stuff ended up happening. My girlfriend actually ended up getting an injury. She had gotten this injury already last year, but it ended up aggravating itself for some reason. And it ended up putting her in a place where she literally could not walk. And I mean literally. We had to wheelchair her everywhere. She's perfectly fine, perfectly healthy person. And she got a spinal injury that we were forced to sort of take care of. And for that reason, we realized that she couldn't fly back. So she had to extend her stay. So then I had to extend my stay and sort of take care of her, go to hospitals, go to doctors. a lot was happening. You know, we were going to orthopedic surgeons, physiotherapists, a lot of different people. And we really couldn't get a clear answer. And eventually, you know, we had to extend for another 2 weeks. So I had to extend for another 2 weeks because she wasn't in a place to fly. We were told that she had to get some injections into her back, into her nerve, going to the operation room. This was in India, and it was pretty crazy. And she did end up having to take those injections. And, you know, I decided that, okay, you know what, once the injections sort of kick in, she should be feeling better. And so I'm going to come back. And that's kind of what we did. We did start to see a little bit of progress. And that's why I ended up coming back. But the latest news even on her is that she might actually have to stay there for another 6 weeks. Yeah. Take care of your back, guys. Please work out. If you mess up your back, you're messing up a lot of things, clearly. So that's kind of why the 4 weeks turn into 6 weeks and then turn into 8 weeks. So that's kind of what ended up happening. So I wasn't really even in the mood to watch too much football. She was in bed all the time, just lying down, getting bored, and I was there to give her company and along with her family. So that's kind of what ended up happening. That's why I had to stay longer and not put out any content. I would have loved to make some videos even from there, but it just wasn't the time to do so. So yeah, the lesson in that is to just freaking work out, take care of your backs, and if you have an injury, act on it, get an MRI, take care of yourself. Don't mess around with your health. And I know sometimes people get afraid to get answers, but it's best to actually just go there, do the tests, and see what you're dealing with, because your body's pretty robust. Once it knows what it has to work with, it can work with it. But I'm back now. I'm ready to make content till the end of the season. I'm going to be making, obviously, lots of content over the summertime too. New things are going to be happening next season. I already know kind of what's happening. I won't tell you guys just yet, but there's going to be a change in the studio. Work is in progress to create a little bit less content from this studio and create more content from a lot closer to where these guys play football. So exciting things are going to be happening on the channel, but for now we're going to hunker down, focus on till the end of the season, see what happens at the transfer market, who's going to be the sporting director, what players are going to go, what players are going to come in. Lots of stuff's going to come out, and I have no plans whatsoever for a while of going on vacation. So you and we're going to be seeing a lot more of each other. And as always from my side, I've missed doing this, guys. Forza Milan, grazie mille, ciao tutti. Did you know Benito Mussolini put an end to the existence of Inter Milan? And the only reason why AC Milan is called what it is because of the fascist leader? What led to the breakup of AC Milan and Inter Milan in that restaurant behind the Duomo is fascinating in itself. But what is even more fascinating